Hi, I'm Nick and this is the TBT channel. Welcome to today's video, which is part 2 of my not Weetabix, Reximex Meta Plus video. Now this is just a very short in-betweeny because things have happened and I wanted to tell you about it. Kind of merits a video of its own, but wouldn't be worth tagging on to anything else. So this is just a little short update on where I've got to it. Now, first of all, thank you for all the comments on the first one. You are absolutely right. This isn't as ugly as an HW35. Even though they tried very, very hard to achieve that, they have failed. It looks a bit different today, you will notice, and we'll get around to that. On Friday, I received this. Today is Sunday. It's Sunday just before lunchtime at the moment, and I've been playing with this most of yesterday and most of this morning. I'm expecting my compressor, my PCP compressor, tomorrow, Monday, and that was going to be the first time I got to test the gun and when I was going to do the video. But you'll also remember I fixed Joe's HW90, the gas ram rifle, and I took that over to her yesterday, and she has a Vivor compressor. Not the one I'm getting, mine's a GX or something. Hers is a Vivor, a basic one. So she said, well, you fix me gun for me, I'll fill it up for you. So she filled this up for me, and I gotta say, for a cheap basic compressor, it filled it from nothing to full in like 20 minutes, which is very loudly. I'm not going to lie, it's very, very, very loud, but it did it. So I came home with it yesterday, lunchtime-ish, and it was full. And it was, oh, what do I do now? Well, I suppose I'd better get shooting with it. So I took it out to my front garden, which is where I'm going to be doing the accuracy testing. And in the front garden from our terrace, where we have the table and the bench, to my targets is a measured 42 meters. So that's predominantly where it's going to be used, and 42 meters is, you know, it's a good range for a PCP for testing accuracy. I will go on to 100 meter hopefully if it warrants it. So I put my moderator on and I put my scope on and I zeroed it, and the group was okay. You know, I haven't actually cleaned the barrel. That's another thing. I haven't cleaned the barrel on this yet. I thought I had an air rifle cleaning kit. I haven't. My mate Den's, I gave it to my mate Den, so I'll go around and see him tomorrow and borrow it and clean my barrel. Den, put the kettle on. So it's all right. You know, I'm shooting smallish targets. Probably as big as out to the number 7 on that one. Okay, it's just that I think it's a 50 meter 2-2 board of, you'll see it when I do the target thing, and they're all going in the target, and it's like, well, that's okay. You know, it will, when it's been cleaned, it'll be better. When I find a pellet it likes, it'll be better. When it's leaded into that pellet, it'll be better. So I started off with my AIM Sport moderator, the little one. It was quite noisy. I tried it without a moderator, with just the shroud, and that was very noisy. The AIM Sport, quite noisy. Then I put my SAC moderator onto it, and it was quieter. It's actually quiet now, which is pleasant. But then I thought, oh, I'll just try my Parker Hale. So I took it off and I put my Parker Hale on, and yeah, that was noisier, even though it's a longer moderator. But all of a sudden, it couldn't hit the target. The pellets were going everywhere. So I swapped back to the SAC, exactly the same. Swapped back to the AIM Sport, exactly the same. It was just spraying pellets. So I thought, well, what could have changed? And the shroud, which you'll remember came down to here, is screwed on at this part here, and I tightened it up. And if I turned it off a little bit, the accuracy started to come back, but now it was over there. Turn it another way, it was over there. So what happened was, for whatever reason, the shroud that's on this is out of line. Okay, the end part of it, this is the end part, what's left of it, that was on the end of it. This had a thread, a UNF, half-inch UNF male thread on there. It wasn't lining up with the barrel, so it was clipping inside the silencer or clipping somewhere, and it was just sending the pellets everywhere. So to test this, first thing I did was take off the shroud and moderators and everything like this completely. I checked the crown. The crown is fine, actually. The crown's quite nice. And I fired off a shot. Scared everybody for miles around. This is bloody noisy. Absolutely hugely noisy when it hasn't got a moderator on it. So I thought, well, that's no good. So I got my SAC moderator. I'm just put that onto there. Well, I screwed it on, obviously. Screwed it onto there to quieten it down. Sure enough, the accuracy came back. If anything, better than before. I was getting clover leaves at 42 meters. Occasional flyers. I'm not sure if that's the pellets, and I'm not sure if that's me. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it's me because I'm not the best shot. So that happened. I filled it. Now, here's another thing. Somebody may be able to tell me. It says all over this, maximum pressure 250, 250, 250, all over. But people say this is a 300 bar gun. I only filled it to 220 bar because I'm not silly. But what is the truth on that? I don't think I'll bother filling it to 300, even if it was, simply because I don't know how many hundreds of shots I fired through this yesterday. But it was a lot. And towards the end of it, when I just had the moderator on the front here, the SAC moderator on the front, getting good groups, all of a sudden the accuracy went again. It's like, oh, what now? I dropped off the reg, and it was as simple as that. You will see here at the back, I've got my regulator pressure. Now, the green is from 120 to 150 bar. This is set at 120 bar. I don't know if there's any benefit to having it higher than that. Maybe, maybe not. But the actual pressure inside the gun has now dropped to below 120 bar. So that's why accuracy went, because it started to lose power. And speaking of power, this is my power knob here. Okay, so yesterday my testing was just with H&N FTTs 14.4 grain, are they? 14.4. And not JSBs, Air Arms Fields, 15.9 Air Arms Fields. It says it's a 42 joule gun, which is about 31 foot-pounds. I turned this up to maximum, fired some Air Arms Fields through it. It's getting 920 feet a second, which is 30 point something foot-pounds. So it will go up. It'll be better. It'll be a higher power rating, certainly, with a heavier pellet. And turning it all the way down, if you turn it all the way down to its bottom setting, it just goes click and no air comes out at all. The lowest I managed to make it register, so getting enough that it would actually fire, was 2 foot-pound. And I've got it set now. It's actually set. I've got the screws on that side, but the dial's on this side, and I've got it set midway, and it's doing around about 18 foot-pound at the moment, which is fine. It's just about where I want. It's about 700 feet a second. And that got me hundreds of shots, a couple of hundred shots certainly, and that was from 220 bar. So that is a good thing. The accuracy, I think, is going to be a good thing. But the shroud. So what I did, this is the shroud. Okay, I took the shroud, I took the centre bit out of the shroud, I cut the shroud in half. Well, not in half, because it's not exactly in half, but it's the right size. I got the correct size for what I wanted here, leaving the thread on this end. So this now comes onto here, twiddle, twiddle, twiddle with this bit. Oh, there we are. Right, so that goes on there, and then the front of the shroud, I bored it out to 14.2 mil to allow for the 14 mil outer diameter of the barrel itself, and I took the part off the front there. And that just goes in there and then pushes into place. It's got an O-ring to hold it in place, and I get my SAC mod. Yesterday I was shooting it without this little shorty pretend faux shroud, and I just thought it looked a bit silly going from chunky, thin, chunky. So it's purely aesthetic. That part there does nothing, but the SAC moderator works so well. I actually quite like the look of that. People will say you shouldn't have to do that on a brand new gun, and you are absolutely right. but I bought this gun knowing there were going to be issues along the way. On Friday, I found out that the trigger is gash, and I've turned it into a sensible single stage trigger. And yesterday, I never noticed the trigger to be bad. I'm quite enjoying the trigger. It is just ready, steady, fire. It's perfectly acceptable for me. The shroud I've made better. Now here's a thing. At the back here, this is quite clever. The cheek piece, you get two inserts with it that are already in there, so you can make the cheek piece higher or lower to fit the get the right cheek weld and eye alignment to your scope. Now, I actually found I needed none, so just that straight down onto the base. The screw here that holds it in place is too long. If you don't want to use any of those, it's stuck up there. So I had to cut it down. I mean, it's a very small thing, but crikey. You know, that's just a daft thing. Why that? And the only other thing I have done to it, round on this side, this is the fill valve. I don't know if you remember, if you go back to the other video, you'll see it had a bloody awful yellow teat on there. A little rubber teat, bright yellow, and it just looks stupid. So I got a 44 Magnum case, put me yellow teat is inside of there, look. So I popped that down inside of there and simply put it in the lathe and then turned it down to meet it. So that is now a 44 Magnum casing on it instead. It's a daft thing, but to be honest with you, I've done it with the dust caps on my BMXs as well, and my other bikes, not just the 1980s BMXs, but other bikes as well. So there we go. All my shooting yesterday was done using this single shot loader here. Okay, now that broke within the first 5 shots. It did have a tiny little plastic bit that stuck out at that angle to stop you pushing it in too far. It just fell off. After a few times being put into the gun, it just came off. It's not a problem. It locates. You can feel when it's located into the correct place. There, because it clicks into place. But again, it's just a why? So, overall impression so far, daft things like the screw there, the yellow teat, more important things like not being able to hit the side of a barn door because of a misaligned shroud, and a trigger which they still insist. I've read on the internet as well, people saying, you read magazine articles about this, everybody says, oh, the trigger was okay, it could have been better, but of course it is 4-way adjustable, but I don't want to adjust the trigger. I don't know if they're just fibbing or whether they didn't look, but you can't adjust it. It does not have adjustment. It is just a lefty righty up and downy of the blade itself. That's it. Ran over. I am going to put this away, and I'm going to remake the video I did for last Friday on the pistols, because YouTube took exception to that one. The Webley Senior must be particularly bad, and it didn't pass censorship. So I'm going to remake that now for next Friday. I'll be doing my pump review tomorrow, which you'll probably see on Wednesday. And then I've got a whole bunch of 2.2 ammunition on the way, and then we're going to start real testing on this, because I did realise I only have two types of 2.2 pellet in any quantity, and they're really only suitable for springers because they're a lightweight. That's it. Like, subscribe, hit notifications. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.